This is grade 11. You are welcome to the English class. Today's lesson is from your Hornbill book, lesson number 3, Discovering Tut, the Saga Continues, written by A.R. Williams. Before moving on to the lesson, first let's discuss about the title of the lesson. What is the title? Discovering Tut, the Saga Continues. Discovering. What is meant by discovering? To uncover something which is already there. Here discovering Tut. What is the Tut? What is the word Tut? Tut is a name of a person. So Tut, he was a teenager king who ruled and died 3000 years ago. So here what is to discover about Tut? Tut, he died mysteriously. I think now you can understand what is to discover. So many tests, researches and other things conducted to find out the reason behind his death. So that's why discovering Tut. The saga continues. The saga means long story. What is it, long story? Here, the reason, the mystery behind the King Tut's death, this story still continues. So many archaeologists, researchers, and many historians, they try to find out the reason, the mystery behind the King Tut's death. No one found out the mystery of his death. So, how did he die? When did he die? So, no one knows about that. So, here the saga continues. So, this title is very apt. Discovering Tut, the saga continues. So, in this lesson, we are going to find out what happened to Tut, how he died, and the ways they used to find, the ways the archaeologists or researchers used to find the reason of his death. So these we are going to see in this lesson. Anne Williams is a former senior writer for National Geographic magazine and online news. She specialized in archaeology, writing features that took her from Egypt to Alaska. A monthly piece for the Ancient World section of the magazine, and news stories on the latest archaeological discoveries. Let's go to the lesson. Take page number 22, lesson 3, Discovering Tut, the saga continues. The name of the author is A.R. Williams. So below the title, see there are some expressions are given. Notice these expressions in the text. Infer their meaning from the context. Infer their meaning. What is it? Infer their meaning. Infer means just guess the meaning what it would be. So these expressions, you can come across these words, these expressions in the lesson. They have given in bold letters. So before getting into the lesson, let's see the meaning for these expressions. Okay. So forensic reconstruction. Have you heard about this forensic reconstruction? So where have you heard this word? So here forensic reconstruction means scientific methods, scientific proofs and data. For what these methods are using to solve the mystery related to King Tut's death. Here in this lesson, to find out the mystery of King Tut's death. So normally forensic reconstruction means it's a method to find out the reason of the death of a person. Okay. So forensic reconstruction means scientific method, proofs and data to solve the mystery related to the death of a person. Scudded across. The dark clouds moved quickly across the sky. Just you imagine dark clouds. So, in horror movies, you could see before the arrival of the ghost. They show the dark clouds. They moved quickly, no? That is. Cascade grey. The dark grey color of the evening sky in which stars are twinkling beautifully. So it is very right, no? It is very beautiful to look at the stars in the evening sky, the stars, twinkling stars to look at, isn't it? So cascade grey means the dark grey color of the evening sky. Resurrection, it means coming to life after death. So in those days, people they believed that there is life after death. Next, funerary treasures. Treasures means wealth. The ornaments. Okay. Circumvented. Circumvented means cheated. Next, computer tomography. That means CT scan. Have you heard about CT scan? So using X-rays. Here in this lesson, so Tut's mummy was CT scanned. Okay. Then eerie detail. Eerie detail means strange details. Here the CT, computer tomography, scanned King Tut's strange and mysterious head from all sides. Okay. So these are the meanings for these expressions. Clear? He was just a teenager when he died. The last heir of a family, powerful family, that had ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. He was laid to rest, laden with gold, and eventually forgotten. Since the discovery of his tomb in 1922, the modern world has speculated about what happened to him, with murder being the most extreme possibility. Now, leaving his tomb for the first time in almost 80 years, Tut has undergone a CT scan that offers new clues about his life and death and provides precise data for an accurate forensic reconstruction of the boyish pharaoh. So, he was just a teenager. Here he refers to King Tut. So, Tut belonged to a royal family of Egypt. He was only a teenager, not an adult. Okay, he was only a teenager when he died. He died mysteriously. Before 3000 years ago, he died. The last heir of a family, powerful family. Last heir means successor. Kadaisi varisu. Okay, the last successor of a powerful family. So this family, they had ruled Egypt and its empire and its kingdom. So this family ruled Egypt and its kingdom for centuries. Okay. So King Tut was the last successor of a powerful family, and his family, they had ruled Egypt and its kingdom for centuries. He was laid to rest. Laid to rest means he was buried. He was not buried simply. He was buried and filled with gold. Okay, was buried with gold and eventually forgotten. Finally forgotten. So before 3000 years ago, he died. So later, after his death, people they forgot. Since the discovery of his tomb in 1922, so first his tomb was discovered in 1922. The modern world has speculated about what happened to him. So the modern world, so people they had so many doubts, lots of theories, there were stories were going about relating to his death. Okay, so people mostly thought that he was murdered. Somebody might have murdered him. Okay. Now leaving his tomb for the first time in almost 80 years. So his body, dead body, it was taken out from his tomb for the first time in almost 80 years. It was taken out from his tomb. For what? That has undergone a CT scan. His body went through a CT scan. CT scan means a medical test. For what this test was done? Because the CT scan that offers, it gives new clues. Okay, the CT scan gives new hints about his life and death. So that clues, it gives a precise data, clear data, exact data for an accurate forensic reconstruction. So already we have discussed forensic reconstruction, scientific methods. So for to examining dead bodies to find out the cause of death. So this clues, it is used to find out the cause of the death, because King Tut, he died mysteriously, so many doubts people they were talking about, they were trying to know about the reason of his mysterious death. So after taking his body, and his body first to be CT scanned, CT scan gives new clues and hints about his life and death, and this clues provides a clear data for an accurate forensic reconstruction of whom? Of a boyish pharaoh. So pharaoh means an Egyptian king. Why here boyish? That he was a teenager. Okay, so boyish pharaoh. An angry wind stirred up ghostly dust devils as King Tut was taken from his resting place in the ancient Egyptian cemetery known as the Valley of the Kings. Dark bellied clouds had scudded across the desert sky all day and now were veiling the stars in casket grey. It was 6 p.m. on 5 January 2005. The world's most famous mummy glided head first into a CT scanner brought here to probe the lingering medical mysteries of this little understood young ruler who died more than 3,300 years ago. So here first time when King Tut's body was taken out from his tomb. Here what is given? An angry wind stirred up ghostly dust devils as King Tut was taken out from his resting place in the ancient Egyptian cemetery known as the Valley of the Kings. Before getting into the passage, I want to tell you something about the Valley of the Kings. So here the author says ancient Egyptian cemetery known as the Valley of the Kings, isn't it? Cemetery means Kallerai. Here the Valley of the Kings, these beautifully painted tombs have been designated a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. It's located in the ancient necropolis of Thebes. Necropolis means cemetery or graveyard. Okay. Thebes is the capital of Egypt during the New Kingdom. And first time when King Tut's body was taken out from his resting place, from his tomb, so what happened? Nature was responding. Okay. An angry wind stirred up. The wind was very violent. It rose up like a devil. Okay, in the sky. It rose up like a devil. The wind was very violent. It got angry. And dark bellied clouds had scudded across. Dark bellied means dark colored clouds had scudded across the desert sky all day. Dark colored clouds had moved across the sky. Okay, they were moving across the sky and now were veiling the stars. These dark colored clouds were covering the stars. Now these dark bellied clouds covered the stars in the casket grey. What is casket grey? The dark grey color of the evening sky. So in the evening the sky was grey color. So these dark bellied clouds, they covered the stars. Okay, they covered. And it was 6 p.m. on 5 January 2005. In the evening time only, first time King Tut's body was taken out. Okay. The world's most famous mummy glided head. Mummy means preserved body. This world most famous. Why here the world most famous mummy? Here the author says this King Tut, he was a teenager. Okay, he was a teenager, king, young king who died mysteriously more than 3,300 years ago. Okay, is a young king. So that's why here the author says the world most famous mummy. Mummy means preserved body. So this mummy, King Tut's body, glided head moved softly. It was after taking out, it moved softly. It put into the CT scanner. First, it was glided into a CT scanner. Okay, CT scanner. It's a medical test. Okay, examining a machine. So his body was brought here. So for what this CT scan was done? To probe, that means to find out the lingering medical mysteries of this young ruler. Lingering means still staying around. What is still staying around? The mysteries, okay, the secrets which are still staying around, to find out that mystery, okay, behind the death of King Tut. To find out that mystery, here his mummy was put into the CT scanner. Okay, so an angry wind stirred up ghostly dust devils as King Tut was taken from his resting place in the ancient Egyptian cemetery known as the Valley of the King. So an violent wind, the wind got angry and it rose up like a devil. When did it happen? When King Tut was taken out from his resting place, from his tomb, when it was first taken out from his tomb. Where was his tomb? In the ancient Egyptian cemetery. So the name of this Egyptian cemetery known as the Valley of the Kings. When it was taken out, when King Tut's body was taken out, the nature was responding. How it was responding? The wind. Here angry wind, it rose up like devil and clouds became very dark and it moved across the sky and they covered the stars in the evening sky. So these happened only in the evening time. Evening time only it was happened. And this world famous mummy, it put into the CT scanner to find out the mysteries. Still mysteries, that means lingering. That means mysteries still staying around. Okay. So to find out the mystery behind the death of a king, his dead body, his mummy was put into the scanner. All afternoon, the usual line of tourists from around the world had descended into the cramped rocket tomb some 26 feet underground to pay their respects. They gazed at the murals on the walls of burial chamber and peered at Tut's gilded face, the most striking feature of his mummy-shaped outer coffin lid. Some visitors read from guidebooks in a whisper. Others stood silently, perhaps pondering Tut's untimely death in his late teens, or wondering with a shiver if the Pharaoh's curse, death, or misfortune falling upon those who disturbed him was really true. So all afternoon, tourists from all over the country, they came there to visit, to pay their respects. So these tourists, they went down. They had descended means went down into the cramped means narrow rocket tomb, which was below 26 feet. Okay, some 26 feet underground. This rocket tomb was under 26 feet. So these tourists, they went down into the narrow rocket tomb to pay their respects. They gazed at the murals on the walls of the burial chamber. They gazed means they looked. With tourists, they looked at the murals. Murals means paintings. Paintings which were drawn on the walls of the burial chamber where the coffin was kept. Okay, so in that burial chamber, on the walls there were paintings. So tourists, they gazed, they looked at and peered at Tut's gilded face. They looked closely at Tut's gilded face. Gilded face means face covered with gold glittering. So here the most striking feature of his mummy-shaped outer coffin lid. So the most remarkable feature is the coffin is of mummy-shaped. That outer coffin lid is a remarkable feature. It was shining and glittering. Okay, people looked closely at Tut's gilded face. So some visitors read from guidebooks in a whisper. So some visitors, they had guidebooks, okay, in their hand. So they read something, they murmured, okay, something from the guidebook. Others stood silently. Here the author says some they read something from guidebook, they murmured. Others they stood silently, perhaps, maybe, pondering Tut's untimely death in his late teens. Maybe they were thinking deeply about Tut's early death. Okay. Or wondering with a shiver if the Pharaoh's curse. Otherwise, they might be thinking carefully. They shivered, they trembled, they feared about Pharaoh's curse. Curse means evil blessing. So here they would get the curse of Pharaohs, this king, okay, Egyptian king, King Tut. They would get Tut's curse because of disturbing him. Okay, they would get death or bad luck. Bad luck they would fall upon those who disturbed him. So they were thinking might be this was really true. So here in this paragraph the author says, so afternoon time, so tourists from all over the country, they went down into the narrow rock-cut tomb which was under 26 feet. So they came there to pay their respects and they looked at paintings which were drawn on the walls of burial chamber. That means the coffin, the place where coffin was kept, and they looked at Tut's gilded face, a shining face. The most remarkable feature was the mummy-shaped outer coffin lid. It was a remarkable feature. And also here the author says some visitors, they read from guidebooks. They read something from guidebooks in a whisper, they murmured. And others stood silently. And perhaps they may be thinking... they were thinking deeply about the early death of King Tut. Otherwise, they were thinking very carefully and they feared, they trembled, they shivered if they would get the curse of Pharaohs, King Tut's evil blessing because of disturbing him. That curse, they feared they would get death or they would die or that bad luck would fall upon them because of disturbing King Tut. They were thinking about that was really true. The mummy is in very bad condition because of what Carter did in 1920s, said Zagi Hawass, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities. As he leaned over the body for a long first look, Howard Carter, that is, was a British archaeologist who in 1922 discovered Tut's tomb after years of futile searching. Its contents, though hastily ransacked in antiquity, were surprisingly complete. They remain the richest royal collection ever found and have become part of the pharaoh's legend. Stunning artifacts in gold, their eternal brilliance meant to guarantee resurrection, caused a sensation at the time of their discovery and still get the most attention. But Tut was also buried with everyday things he'd want in the afterlife: board games, a bronze razor, linen undergarments, cases of food and wine. Here in this paragraph, the writer says about a person, Zahi Hawass. So, who was he? Secretary General of Egypt, Supreme Council of Antiquities. So what he said, so after taking a long look of King Tut's body, he said the mummy is in very bad condition because of what Carter did in 1920s. So the mummy, now he said mummy was in very bad condition. So why it was in bad condition? Because of what Carter did. So Carter did something to the body of King Tut in 1920s. That's why now the mummy was in very bad condition, said by Zahi Hawass. So now here the writer says about Carter, Howard Carter. So Howard Carter, who was he? He was a British archaeologist. Archaeologist means, do you know what is archaeologist? Who studies ancient remains. So he discovered Tut's tomb in 1922 after years of futile searching. Futile searching, useless. The search was useless. Who searched? So other researchers, many archaeologists, they searched King Tut's tomb. That search was useless. But now in 1922, British archaeologist Howard Carter, he discovered Tut's tomb. Its contents means the things which are inside the tomb, though hastily ransacked in antiquity, were surprisingly complete. So in ancient time, so many they searched, in a quick manner, they searched the valuable treasures of Tut. Now, so in a quick manner they searched. Now it was completed. They remain the richest royal collection ever found and have become part of the pharaoh's legend. Here, the treasure found at Tut's grave is the richest one till now, and now has come to be known as a pharaoh's legend. Stunning artifacts in gold, their eternal brilliance, meant to guarantee resurrection, caused a sensation at the time of the discovery and still get the most attention. Here, stunning artifacts, this wonderful artifacts means ornaments, that means man-made objects, wonderful ornaments in gold. So their eternal brilliance, here this ornaments in gold ornaments, they were shining and glittering. There is no damage. Here eternal means never dying. Okay, so your eternal brilliance, it is very shining and glittering, and which are eternally beautiful. Okay, these artifacts in gold are eternally beautiful and meant to guarantee resurrection. That means they were as good as new. Okay, resurrection means rebirth. Caused a sensation at the time of discovery. It produced, at the time of discovery, it was a talk of the town. The things which are inside the tomb, the artifacts in gold, they have they are eternally beautiful. They were the talk of the town at the time of discovery, and still get the most attention, most importance. Okay. But that was also buried with everyday things he'd want in the afterlife, not only the valuable treasures. So, the everyday things, that was buried with everyday things, whatever he needed every day. So, after life, he'd want, that everyday things also was buried with him. The things which are board games, a bronze razor, linen undergarments. Linen means it's a fabric cloth, high quality cloth, and cases of food and wine, boxes of food and wine, they buried in Tut's tomb. So these are the things he needed for his everyday life. Okay, so here in this paragraph, the writer says about Zahi Hawass, who was Secretary General of Egypt Supreme Council of Antiquities. He said the mummy was in very bad condition after the Carter's discovery. And also here the writer says about Howard Carter, who was British archaeologist. He was the first who discovered Tut's tomb. Other searches were useless, and here the writer says the contents, the things which are inside the tomb, or they were the richest royal collection ever found, and they have become the part of the pharaoh's legend. And the artifacts, they have eternal beauty, and then they produced the talk of the town. They became the talk of the town at the time of discovery, and still get the most importance. And not only the valuable treasures that was buried with everyday things, whatever he needed after life. Okay, that is board games, bronze razor, linen undergarments, and boxes of food and wine were buried in Tut's tomb. After months of carefully recording the pharaoh's funerary treasures, Carter began investigating his three nested coffins. Opening the first, he found a shroud adorned with garlands of willow and olive leaves, wild celery, lotus petals, and cornflowers, the faded evidence of a burial in March or April. When he finally reached the mummy, though he ran into trouble, the ritual resins had hardened, cementing Tut to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. No amount of legitimate force could move them. Carter wrote later what was to be done. So, in this paragraph, the writer says Carter took months to record whatever things, valuable things he found. Okay, it took months to record the valuable treasures, valuable things what he found. Okay, Carter began investigating his three nested coffins. So he started examining three nested. Nested means fitted inside each other. Three nested. The coffins fitted inside each other. Three nested coffins. He started examining. When he opened the first coffin, he found a shroud. A shroud means cloth used to cover the dead body. Okay, he found a shroud adorned with the garlands of willow. Adorned means decorated with a garland. Garland na male. Garlands of willow. Willow, it's a soft wood tree. Okay, and olive leaves, wild celery. Celery means plant. It's a wild plant. Lotus petals, and cornflowers. Cornflowers, it's a bluish purple color flower. The faded evidence of a burial in March or April. Here the writer says the faded evidence, that means not clear proof. So here why the writer says means here these flowers we could see in March or April. So the Tut was buried maybe in March or April. So when he finally reached mummy, so first coffin he found shroud, okay, cloth decorated with garlands. And when he finally reached the mummy, he was in trouble. He ran into the trouble. He was in trouble. The ritual resins is a sticky substance, okay. So ritual resins had hardened. It's a sticky substance. Now it became very hard, cementing Tut to the bottom of his solid gold coffin which was made of gold, cementing Tut. This sticky substance resin became hard, and Tut's body stuck to the bottom of the coffin which was made of gold. No amount of legitimate force could move them, Carter wrote later. So no other force could move them. It was very hard. So no other separate force could move King Tut's from the coffin. So what was to be done to separate Tut's body and coffin. The sun can beat down like a hammer this far south in Egypt, and Carter tried to use it to loosen the resins. For several hours, he set the mummy outside in blazing sunshine that heated it to 149 degrees Fahrenheit. Nothing budged. He reported with scientific detachment that the consolidated material had to be chiseled away from beneath the limbs and trunk before it was possible to raise the king's remains. Here in this paragraph, the writer says, so it was very hot, extremely hot, the far south in Egypt, and Carter he tried to use it to loosen the resins. Okay, so for several hours, so what did he do to loosen the resin? For several hours, he placed the mummy outside in blazing sunshine. So blazing means burning sunshine. So that the resin was heated it to 149 degrees Fahrenheit. So to loosen the resin, what did Carter do? He placed the mummy outside outside in burning sunshine. So it was 149 degree Fahrenheit. Nothing budged. So nothing was happened. Nothing moved. He reported with the scientific detachment. So he used so many scientific methods, but all was in vain. So he reported with the scientific detachment that the consolidated material had to be chiseled away from beneath the limbs and trunk before it was possible to raise the king's remains. So the consolidated material, here what is consolidated material? Body which is sticking to the bottom of the tomb, that is consolidated material. This consolidated material had to be chiseled away. So using a knife, it was cut from beneath the limbs. Limbs means hands and legs, and trunk is a main part of the body before it was possible to raise the king's remains. So in this paragraph, the writer says Carter tried to loosen the resin. So it was very hot. So he placed the mummy outside in a burning sunshine. So that was heated to 149 degrees Fahrenheit, but nothing moved. He couldn't move Tut's body from the coffin. So he reported. So he used so many scientific methods. Okay. So he said. So this consolidated material, there's the body which is sticking to the bottom of the tomb, had to be chiseled away, had to be cut from beneath the limbs and trunk. Okay. In his defense, Carter really had little choice. If he hadn't cut the mummy free, thieves most certainly would have circumvented the guards and ripped it apart to remove the gold. In Tut's time, the royals were fabulously wealthy, and they thought or hoped they could take their riches with them. For his journey to the great beyond, King Tut was lavished with glittering goods, precious collars, inlaid necklaces and bracelets, rings, amulets, a ceremonial apron, sandals, sheaths for his fingers and toes, and now the iconic inner coffin and mask, all of pure gold. To separate Tut from his adornments, Carter's men removed the mummy's head and severed nearly every major joint. Once they had finished, they reassembled the remains on a layer of sand in a wooden box with the padding. that concealed the damage. The bed where Tut now rests. Here in this paragraph, here the writer says, according to Carter, he had no choice other than to cut the mummy. He believed that if he hadn't done that, if he hadn't cut, thieves would have removed the gold from the tomb and would have looted it. So during Tut's time, the royals, the kings, they were fabulously wealthy. They were very wealthy, and they had a belief that after death. So King Tut, he was lavished, he was showered with glittering golds, shiny, glittering goods, shiny things, precious collars, inlaid necklaces, and bracelets, rings, amulets. Amulets means protective ornaments that keep away the evils. A ceremonial apron, sandals, sheets for his fingers and toes. And now here an iconic inner coffin and a mask. And then all these things, all they were made of pure gold. So here his men, they removed his head to separate Tut from his adornments. From these Carter's men, they removed mummy's head and every joint of his body. Then after they finished, they reassembled the remains in a wooden box with the padding, with the soft materials, okay, to hid soft material. Why they kept soft materials in the wooden box? To hid the damage, that conceal the damage, hid the damage. The bed where Tut now rests. It was his new resting place. So in this paragraph, here the writer says Carter had no choice. He had to cut the mummy. Otherwise, thieves would have removed the gold from the tomb. And during Tut's time, the royal people, they were very wealthy, and they had a belief that after death, and they could take the wealth, what the belief what they had means, they could take the wealth along with them, okay, after death. So for his life after death, Tut was given precious collars, necklaces, and bracelets, rings, amulets, ceremonial aprons, sandals. So these were made of pure gold. All these things shows his richness. And then his men, Carter's men, they removed his head and every joint of his body. And after they finished, they reassembled the remains in a wooden box with the soft materials to hid the damage. Now it was his new resting place. Archaeology has changed substantially in the intervening decades, focusing less on treasure and more on the fascinating details of life and intriguing mysteries of death. It also uses more sophisticated tools, including medical technology. In 1968, more than 40 years after Carter's discovery, an anatomy professor X-rayed the mummy and revealed a startling fact. Beneath the resin that cakes his chest, his breastbone and front ribs are missing. What is meant by archaeology? Do you know? Archaeology means a study of human history. Now archaeology has changed greatly. So in the intervening decades, in the past few decades, they focused less on treasure. They concentrated on details of life and intriguing mysteries, the secrets, the mysteries behind the death. they focused less on treasure and concentrated more on the details of life and their secrets of death. And it also uses more sophisticated tools. They used more advanced tools for medical technology in order to find out life and death. So in 1968, more than 40 years after Carter's discovery, an anatomy professor, he x-rayed the mummy and revealed, he displayed a surprising fact. What was the surprising fact? He found beneath the resin that cakes his chest. Beneath the resin, that cakes means covers his chest, no? His breast bone and front ribs are missing. Okay. So, anatomy professor, he x-rayed the mummy and he displayed a surprising fact that Tut's breast bone and front ribs were missing.
Today, diagnostic imaging can be done with computed tomography or CT, by which hundreds of X-rays in cross-section are put together like slices of bread to create a three-dimensional virtual body. What more could a CT scan reveal of Tut than X-ray? And could it answer two of the biggest questions still lingering about him? How did he die and how old was he at the time of his death? Here in this paragraph, here the author says, the writer here says, nowadays technology is advanced, okay, for examining body. Other than X-ray, here computed tomography has come. That means CT scan, okay, technique of examining body through X-rays. This CT scan gives hundreds of X-rays in cross section, so in like pieces of bread, and it creates three-dimensional virtual body. It gives whole body's images like three-dimensional. So minute details this CT scan can give. Here writer asks a question whether a CT scan can reveal the mystery of King Tut's, whether it gives the answers for the two biggest questions that people had. How did he die and how old was he at the time of his death? Okay, so in this paragraph, the writer says the advancement of technology, CT scan, with the CT scan, hundreds of X-rays in cross section are put together like pieces of bread, and it creates three-dimensional pictures of whole body. And he puts a question whether CT scan will give the answers for the biggest questions. How did Tut die and how old was he at the time of his death? Let's see whether what happened, whether it gives answers or not. King Tut's demise was a big event, even by royal standards. He was the last family's line, and his funeral was death rattle of a dynasty. But the particulars of his passing by and its aftermath are unclear. Here in this paragraph, the writer says King Tut's demise. Demise means death. King Tut's death, it was a big shock even to the royals, other kings. Okay, it was a big shock to the royals also. And he was Tut was the last of his family's line. Okay, so he was the last successor, Kadaisi Varisu. And his funeral was death rattle of a dynasty. So funeral means irudhi chadangu. Funeral was a death rattle, the end of a dynasty. Okay, of his dynasty, he was the last person. But the particulars of his passing by and its aftermath are unclear. Here what the author says means the details of his death, the reason of his death, and what happened after his death are not clear. Okay, so in this paragraph, here the writer says the death of King Tut was a big shock even to the royals, and because King Tut was the last successor of his dynasty, and his funeral was a death rattle. His that burial was it was the end of his dynasty. And then the details of his death, the reasons of his death, mystery behind his death, and after his death what happened, they were not clear. Amenhotep III, Tut's father or grandfather, was a powerful pharaoh who ruled for almost 4 decades at the height of the 18th dynasty's golden age. His son Amenhotep IV succeeded him and initiated one of the strangest periods in the history of ancient Egypt. The new pharaoh promoted the worship of the Aten, the sun disk, changed his name to Akhenaten or servant of the Aten, and moved the religious capital from the old city of Thebes to the new city of Akhetaten, known now as Amarna. He further shocked the country by attacking Amun, a major god, smashing his images and closing his temples. It must have been a horrific time, said Ray Johnson, director of the University of Chicago's Research Center in Luxor, the site of ancient Thebes. The family that had ruled for centuries was coming to an end, and then Akhenaten went a little wacky. Amenhotep III, here it's given Tut's father or grandfather. So this detail also is not clear. So in this paragraph, here the writer gives a little bit history of Tut. So Amenhotep III, Tut's father or grandfather, he was a powerful pharaoh. He was a powerful Egyptian king who ruled almost 40 decades at the height of the 18th dynasty's golden age. So Amenhotep's father or grandfather, who was that? Amenhotep III. Okay, so he ruled almost 4 decades of the 18th dynasties, and his son Amenhotep IV succeeded him. So Amenhotep IV followed him. After the death of Amenhotep III, Amenhotep IV came into the throne, and he began one of the unique times in the history of ancient Egypt. Okay, he initiated one of the strangest periods in the history of ancient Egypt. The new Egyptian king encouraged the worship of Aten. Aten means sun, the sun disk. He changed his name to Akhenaten or the servant of Aten. So as he encouraged the worship of the god Aten, he changed his name as Akhenaten or the servant of the Aten. And he moved the religious capital from the old city of Thebes to the new city of Akhetaten. Now it is known as Amarna. Then he stunned the country by attacking Amun, a major god. So he broke his images, he destroyed his images and closed his temples. By this, he stunned the country. And here the writer introduces a person, Ray Johnson. Who is Ray Johnson? He is the director of University of Chicago's Research Center in Luxor, the site of ancient Thebes. That means place of ancient Thebes. Here Ray Johnson here said it was a horrific time when Akhetaten came into the throne. He attacked Amun, a major god. He destroyed his idols, his images, and closed his temples. Okay, here and then the The family that had ruled for centuries, the family who ruled for centuries, was coming to an end. Then Akhenaten went a little wacky. Then he became a little crazy. Okay. So in this paragraph, the writer says Amenhotep III, he was a father or grandfather. He was a powerful Egyptian king who ruled almost 4 decades. After his death, Amenhotep IV came into the throne. It was the strangest periods in the history of ancient Egypt. And this new Egyptian king encouraged the worship of Aten and changed his name to Akhenaten, or the servant of the Aten. And he moved religious capital also from the old city of Thebes to the new city of Akhetaten. And then he stunned the country by attacking a major god Amun, by destroying his images and closed his temples. And Ray Johnson, the director of University of Chicago's Research Center, he said it was a terrible time, horrific time. And then the family that ruled for centuries was coming to an end. And then Akhenaten, he became a little crazy. He behaved in a crazy manner. After Akhenaten's death, a mysterious ruler named Smenkhare appeared briefly and exited with hardly a trace. And then a very young Tutankhaten took the throne. King Tut, as he is widely known today, the boy king soon changed his name to Tutankhamun, living image of Amun, and oversaw a restoration of the old ways. He reigned for about 9 years and then died unexpectedly. Here, after Akhenaten's death, then came a mysterious ruler named Smenkhare. Here, why the writer says a mysterious ruler? Because Smenkhare's period was a small period and he disappeared without having any trace, without giving any trace, he disappeared. So here the writer says he was a mysterious ruler. And after Smenkhare's period, a very young Tutankhaten took the throne. So then young Tutankhaten, that means King Tut, came into the throne, and this boy king changed his name as Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun means living image of Amun. So he encouraged the worship of Aten, and he supervised a restoration of the old ways. That means he bring back the worship of the old ways, and he ruled for 9 years, and then he died unexpectedly. His death was untimely. Okay, he died unexpectedly. So here in this paragraph, the writer says after Akhenaten's death, a mysterious ruler came into the throne. His period was a small period and disappeared without having any trace. And then came Tutankhaten, that means King Tut, and he changed his name to Tutankhamun, that means living image of Amun, and he bring back the worship of the old ways, and he ruled for 9 years, and unexpectedly he died in young age. Regardless of his fame and speculations about his fate, Tut is one mummy among many in Egypt. How many? No one knows. The Egyptian Mummy Project, which began an inventory in late 2003, has recorded almost 600 so far and still counting. The next phase, scanning the mummies with a portable CT machine donated by the National Geographic Society and Siemens, its manufacturer. King Tut is one of the first mummies to be scanned, in death as in life, moving regally ahead of his countrymen. Here, nobody knows how did King Tut die. So Tut is one mummy among many in Egypt. Here, the Egyptian Mummy Project, they started collecting the mummies in late 2003. They recorded almost 600 mummies so far, and still counting is going on. So after discovering the mummies, the next stage is scanning the mummies. So how did they scan the mummy? With a portable CT machine. This portable CT machine was donated by National Geographic Society, and Siemens is a manufacturer of CT machine. So the CT machine was donated by National Geographic Society. So after discovering mummies, next step is scanning the mummies with a portable CT machine. So portable means this that can be carried anywhere. Then King Tut is one of the first mummies to be scanned. So normally CT scan is done to a person to diagnose the disease. So here King Tut's mummy was the first to be scanned. So in this paragraph, here the writer says there are so many mummies in Egypt. Tut is one of the mummies, and the Egyptian Mummy Project, they started collecting mummies. They began inventory. They produced a list of, they started collecting a list of articles. They recorded 600 mummies so far, and counting is going on still. And next stage after discovering mummies is scanning the mummies with a portable CT machine, which was donated by National Geographic Society, and Siemens is manufacturer of CT machine, and King Tut is one of the first mummies to be scanned. A CT machine scanned the mummy head to toe, creating 1700 digital X-ray images in cross-section. Tut's head scanned in 0.62 mm slices to register its intricate structures takes on eerie detail in the resulting image. With the Tut's entire body similarly recorded, a team of specialists in radiology, forensics, and anatomy began to probe the secrets that the winged goddesses of a gilded burial shrine protected for so long. CT scan machine, a CT machine scanned the mummy head to toe, and it is able to show 1700 digital X-ray images in cross section. Cross section means parts seen when a thing is cut in the middle. Okay, this CT machine, it shows 1700 digital X-ray images and Tut's head examined, and it gives minute structures, okay, minute details in 0.62 millimeter. And final image, it was very strange. So after getting this result, a team of specialists in radiology, forensics, anatomy, they started to investigate the secrets of the grave that had been protected by flying goddess for a long time. Okay, here winged goddess means flying goddess. Yeah, so in this paragraph, here CT machine scanned the mummy from head to toe, and it gives 1700 digital X-rays in cross section, and Tut's head also examined, and it gives 0.2 millimeter slices. It gives a minute details, and the final image is very strange. And after getting this result, a team of specialists began to investigate the secrets of the grave that was protected by flying goddess for a long time. The night of the scan, workmen carried Tut from the tomb in his box. Like pallbearers, they climbed a ramp and a flight of stairs into the swirling sand outside, then rose on a hydraulic lift into the trailer that held the scanner. 20 minutes later, two men emerged, sprinted for an office nearby, and returned with a pair of white plastic fans. The $1 million scanner had quit because of sand in a cooler fan. Curse of the Pharaoh, choked a god nervously. Here, during the night time, workmen they carried Tut from the tomb in his box. Workmen like pall bearers. Pall bearers means a person who carries coffin. So, like pall bearers, the workmen carried Tut. They climbed a ramp and a flight of stairs. The ramp means sloping area. So they climbed up on the ramp and a flight of stairs into the spinning sand outside. So in the beginning, we saw when Tut's body, when the first time it was taken out, the wind was very angry, violent, and it rose like a devil. No, so when the workman carried Tut's body, when it was taken out from the tomb, and they climbed up on the ramp and the flight of stairs into the spinning sand outside, and they then rose. They kept the body into the scanner that was kept. The scanner was kept in the trailer. Okay, it was a mobile scanner. And 20 minutes later, two men came running from the office nearby to get a pair of white plastic fans because the scanner stopped working because of sand entered in a cooler fan. So for this, one of the gods, he joked nervously. It was a curse of Pharaoh. So they disturbed Pharaoh. So he joked it was a curse of Pharaoh. So in this paragraph, during night time, workmen they carried Tut's body from the tomb into the spinning sand outside, and they kept the body into the scanner. So 20 minutes later, two men they came running from office nearby to get white plastic fans, pair of white plastic fans, and because the scanner stopped working because of sand entered into a cooler fan. So a god joked that it was a curse of Pharaoh. Eventually, the substitute fans worked well enough to finish the procedure. After checking that no data had been lost, the technicians turned Tut over to the workmen who carried him back to his tomb. Less than 3 hours after he was removed from his coffin, the Pharaoh again rested in peace where the funerary priest had laid him so long ago. Once the fans worked, the procedure was finished. The data was checked and no data had been lost. And then technicians returned the body to the workmen who carried him back to his tomb. In less than 3 hours, he was resting at the same place where the priest had laid him many years ago. So, again, he was resting at the same place in less than 3 hours. So, in this paragraph, the writer says, finally, the substitute fans, alternative fans, they worked well and they completed the procedure. The data was checked, no data had been lost. Then technicians returned the body to the workmen who carried him back to his tomb, and in less than 3 hours he was resting. Tut was resting at the same place. Again, his body was kept in the same place.
Back in the trailer, a technician pulled up astonishing images of Tut on a computer screen. A grey head took shape from a scattering of pixels, and the technician spun and tilted it in every direction. Neck vertebrae appeared as clearly as in an anatomy class. Other images revealed a hand, several views of the rib cage, and a transection of the skull. But for now, the pressure was off. Sitting back in his chair, Zahi Hawass smiled, visibly relieved that nothing had gone seriously wrong. I didn't sleep last night, not for a second, he said. I was so worried, but now I think I will go and sleep. In the trailer, a technician, he drew some astonishing images, surprising images of Tut on a computer screen. He showed a grey head which was scattered in pixels. Pixels means minute images. And he rotated it around. So in the mobile scanner, a technician, he drew some astonishing images, surprising images of Tut on a computer screen, and he showed a grey head which was scattered in pixels, and he rotated it around. So the details were very clear. Next, neck vertebrae, that means neck bone, hand, several views of rib cage. Rib cage means chest bone, and a transection of the skull. Transection means cutting slantingly. Okay. Now Zahiya was relieved. Now his pressure was gone, and while sitting back in his chair, he felt a relief. Okay, he told that nothing had gone seriously wrong, and he told that he had not slept the previous night, not for a second. And he said he was so worried, and but now he thought that he would go and sleep. By the time we left the trailer, descending metal stairs to the sandy ground, the wind had stopped. The winter air lay cold and still like death itself in this valley of the departed. Just above the entrance to Tut's tomb stood Orion, the constellation that the ancient Egyptians knew as the soul of Osiris, the god of the afterlife, watching over the boy king. This is the last paragraph of this lesson. So here the writer says, as soon as the technicians left the trailer, they came down the metal stairs to the sandy ground. When they reached the sandy ground, the wind had stopped. The winter air was very cold and still means motionless. So very cold like death itself. In this valley of the departed people who died. So in this valley, many tombs are there. So here the writer uses these phrases, in this valley of the departed. Then just above the entrance to Tut's tomb, they could see a constellation or Orion. That means group of stars. The constellation means group of stars. Then ancient Egyptians, they believed that the tomb of Tut was guarded by the soul of Osiris. Osiris means god of life, an Egyptian god. So they believed that the tomb of Tut was guarded by the soul of Osiris. This god is watching over the boy king. Okay, this is the end of the lesson. Thank you.